Hello, everybody. This is Kirsten Leigmann, and I am your host for the Audacious Authenticity Symposium, where we look at principles of success, both in business as well as in life, through the lens of authenticity. And we have been on quite a journey so far through different domains of business as well as psychotherapy. And it's been just an amazing, eye-opening, and just incredible wealth of wisdoms and insights. And so I'm really thrilled to have today's guest on today, because we're bringing in a whole new different level to this conversation that has been really very focused on business, and the selling and marketing and branding. And today's guest is going to take us more into, we could call it the esoteric realm, but into the energy healing realm. And so let me introduce you. and I will let her speak for herself too. So her name is Sasha Sabbeth, and she is a soul purpose expert, internationally recognized, mind you. She's a master sound and energy healer, public speaker, and the entrepreneur's intuition and purpose soul coach. And she facilitates her clients in removing blocks to their success, accelerating intuition access, launching a deeper embodiment of their soul's purpose expression, and by igniting their creative genius for greater business and personal success. So I am so thrilled to have you here, Sasha. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. So tell the audience just a little bit about yourself and how you came to do the work you're doing, and why, authenticity is so important to you in that work.
Yeah. Well, in my particular case, I couldn't avoid being authentic. There was no place to hide. I had only authentic options because I started out as a business owner because I was born with a lot of health problems. So as early as elementary school, I was really struggling and suffering. And so by the time I became of working adult age, I was unemployable. I could not hold a job. I was fired. I was needing to take long naps in the middle of the day. It was just obvious that I was not somebody who could be hired. So I needed to become my own business owner. And I set to work on healing myself. So I studied the subconscious mind, the spiritual realms, the connection between soul, mind, and body. I became certified in hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, a Reiki master, an acupressurist, everything to really hone my ability to take on my healing, to claim it. And as a result, there was nothing that I could do other than to be authentic. I needed to be honest with people as to what was going on with me. And when I started my business back in the 80s, so I've been doing this for a little while, it was really clear to the people that I had as clients and audiences and students that I knew that what I was teaching and what I was using for my services were really credible because I use them on myself. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that your symposium was on authenticity, and then the word audacious, I said, this girl and I are like sisters, because that was my whole life from early on. Now, mind you, I didn't start off audacious. No. I came in with a victim script. I was a little bit of a doormat. As I worked to heal myself, it was obvious that empowerment and confidence and self-esteem and worth were values that I needed to dredge out from my soul purpose blueprint that was just driven so deep inside of me. And it's because, growing up here, I was motivated and talented and had a vision for my future, even in elementary school. And yet I didn't have the body to bring it out. And that created a huge disconnect between the worlds, between the visionary, etheric, spiritual worlds and my human, physical plane manifestation worlds. And so the only way to navigate the two, to integrate the two, was for me to be authentically willing to state where I was at, state what I needed, state what I believed, state what I wanted. And, a lot of people didn't like that. And it was a little tough because I'm sensitive and my feelings got hurt a lot, often. But I never lost track of the fact that there was no other way to be. I really did not try to become like someone else too much. I would adopt things that I thought were useful, but I really couldn't hold it for very long. I didn't have that luxury, so always, inevitably, the true personality and the true values and the true priorities of what I wanted to accomplish and who I valued myself to be won out.
You talk about, you said you came in with a victim script. And I think that is one of those blocks that is present for many folks. Speak to that a little bit more, and what a victim script looks like.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it is not fun. We'll start there.
Yep.
Secondly, what it means to me, and I learned more about that when I became certified as a hypnotherapist and a neurolinguistic programmer, is that it's a subconscious mind cauldron of beliefs, images, and behaviors that in this particular case shows up like, I can't become who I want to become. I can't have what other people have. Other people have more power. Other people can do it and I can't. I can be easily intimidated and other people are more powerful. How do they have the confidence to say, do, and be that? Where could I ever be that confident? I'd go to other intuitives and clairvoyants and practitioners of the unseen for my answers instead of knowing that the answer was within me. And also, I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this. A lot of people pushed me around. And especially in the dating world in my younger years. And I had to get to work to have people know where the boundaries were, what was not okay, and that if something was not right, I had the power and the right and the sovereignty and the dominion to say, no, this is not who I am, this is not what I accept, no.
Okay. There is a concept, I think you can call it a concept, that weaves through everything that you write about, that you speak about, that you present with, and that is that of the soul. You say you succeed in sync with your soul. You are a soul coach. You help people find their soul purpose. Define soul.
I love that. Well, in the free gift that I'm offering in this, I also go into it in one of the public speaking pieces. The soul is that deep presence where fortitude, motivation, flow, and peace and wisdom are all interwoven together, where there is actually a system, a path, a direction that we as a personality human self will find that we are moving in a direction that feels right. So the emotions that give us the messaging of what is going on inside of us that feels like it is truth. It is who we are at a very deep, comforted level, where there is a sense of everything is okay. I am okay. What I am able to do is welcome in this world. All of this comes from what I say is the soul essence self. What is the soul? It is the very essence pulse of what we are, our personality, our priorities, our impulses, our motivations, and what will keep us moving in a certain direction where no matter what the obstacle, we are unstoppable. My best understanding in observing myself and watching my clients and students emerge until I see this difference come over them and come over myself, I would say that is the soul infusing itself more into the person's personality. And when I do my energy healing work with my spirit team, one of the spirit team's names is the Transmissions of Grace. What they do is they help to open up the channels, the conduits of energy, the grid lines between the human energy field of the physical body, the etheric body, through the mental body, the emotional body. There are all these streams of highways of energy. And when healers and healing spirits are present and working on us, those channels are cleared out from the blocks and the heavier energies that are ready to be released, so that more of the soul energy, this essence, pure truth patterning, can come down and precipitate through all of our energy fields and then show up through our human mind, meaning our thoughts, our emotions, meaning our emotional body, and then out into what we do, what we say, what we choose. I hope that gives you a good grasp, as best as I know how to describe it.
It was a very eloquent description. So, what then is authenticity?
Authenticity is allowing that pulse. I'm going to call it a pulse because everything's energy, obviously. And this pulse, that is the soul pulse, has a freedom to expand and to contract. And what was your question? My God, I'm starting to go into a trance. So,
What is
sorry.
authenticity?
Okay. So authenticity is when we allow that particular pulse to come through without us trying to make it right or wrong. We just know that it's there, and we know that it's good for us to be there. We know, in a sense, that we must own it, claim it, love it, stand by it, defend it, even though it can hurt. Just like in the copy in some of your newsletters for this symposium, you talk about risky. You talk about even if it doesn't feel good, or, the words that you used. And that's okay. It's okay for the personality self to feel those feelings and learn the tools of how to handle discomfort, disagreement, disapproval, and maybe even attack. But still hold partnership with that soul self. That is authenticity. An example of authenticity might be somebody who says to a disapproving individual, I hear what you're saying. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I understand that that's your truth. And my truth is,
Yep.
And everybody gets to have their truth.
Yeah. So how does somebody discern this soul pulse
Yeah.
from external voices or even egoic voices?
Yep.
How does somebody make the distinction between those so that, how do they find that true north?
Yeah, that is the $1 million question. And that is what this incarnation is about for those who are seeking that divinity, that sense of why am I here in this lifetime? What was I born to do? My best way of doing that for myself, that discernment, is again, the messaging of the emotions is key. And when you become more and more intimate with yourself, which is what I teach people in my work, is that profound intimacy between the ego self and the soul self, and then to channel all that juice into your business, into your manifestations. The way to determine when something is, let's say, off purpose is because it just doesn't feel right. And we can go ahead for a while, it depends on what our soul purpose path is. Some people have great tolerance for abandoning themselves, for rejecting themselves. I don't have that luxury in this lifetime, really. And some people have a lot more capacity to compromise certain things, and that is their soul purpose path. I don't have that ability. So when something for me, and typically the clients and students that I attract, when something feels like it's hurting, it's squashing, it's contracting, it's suffocating, it's lying, it's a lie that they're living, that's when they can discern that something is not going in the right direction. It is not true north. It's not true anything. What it is that person attempting to cope with their programming and their beliefs and what it is they think through their influences that they've allowed to impact them. They're trying to sort through. But what exactly are they sorting through? Are they sorting through to survive and to fit in? Or are they sorting through to thrive and to really be happy with the life that they are building? In my work, I preen what I call light leaders, light bearers, light pillars in a community through their businesses or through their households. And the whole purpose is to discern between those two distinctions, just like you said. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, we do have to coexist. And so I also teach an elegance of how to set boundaries, allow everyone to have their truth, allow everyone to leave if they need to, if it doesn't fit with their truth, their toolkit. But inevitably, we're going to strengthen our soul presence and magnetize to us our family, our light family in the business world and in our personal worlds. And then we get to see more and more what is really soul versus what is an ego that is just not working for us.
So I understand you help people, you talk about launching a deeper embodiment of their soul purpose expression, which, for those entrepreneurs that are listening, that's, the conscious entrepreneurs that want to meld their soul purpose expression with their entrepreneurial venture. So
yeah.
How do you help people make that step?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, the free gift is a bit of a jump start to that. How I help them do that is a lot of it's in the free report. The free report is called Clarity, and it goes into learning how to dive inside and start from self-observing the beliefs that are choking you off and the vision that is tugging at your heart that must get expressed. And then what are you going to do to bridge that gap? So that's what the free report is all about. And then my Soul Purpose Success Tips series is a huge library of what it means to bring heaven to earth through your soul purpose success. And what does it mean to run energy? What does it mean to be able to find who you are, where you begin and end, and where you pick up on the energy fields of those people or just the environment kind of pressing in on you. And the more you practice the various techniques that I teach, the more we sit in our sacred self-personal space as a pillar of strength and awareness, where we absolutely respond. And again, I preen myself and my people to be compassionate, as opposed to, well, this is who I am. No. It's more like, hey, yeah, I see you, and here's me. And can we dance? Do we belong together? Can we work together? Is it on purpose for us to do anything together? If not, I lovingly release you. I lovingly help you find your way. And your way may not be with me and I with you, you know. So I help people by first developing that very intimate connection where we give ourselves full permission to be honest with our about our relationships, and to be honest about, if I create this package, is this package really bringing out the best of who I am, or is this a package that I think my audience would want? Well, okay, can I give my audience what they want, which is very smart for marketing, but at the same time seed in what I know to be true and helpful to them? So the way that I help entrepreneurs is to really find not only their mission, but their soul purpose message that's completely built on what I call their sacred wound, meaning whatever they have done in the past, the good, the bad, and the ugly, there can be an area that is their weakest link, that is their Achilles heel. And up until a certain point, that part of themselves, if it takes over, will keep them a prisoner and keep them hiding and feeling less than and feeling broken and feeling like they can never offer anything. Who am I when I've got all this going on in my life? That's the wound part of the bridge. Mm-hmm. And then working with my healing energies and my intuition and the things that I've been gifted with in this lifetime, we cross that bridge over to sacred wound territory. And that's where our brilliance lies, and the alchemy, the fun, the excitement is to find, when you put all that together in a magical cauldron, what that will look like in a business context and who really are the right people for you to serve. Mm-hmm. So that's how I do it. I have a big program on that, and it's called Your Soul Purpose Expanse Brilliance. And it's all about that, about that.
Oh, I'm sure people will be picking that one up now. So you talk about the 8 pillars of entrepreneurial soul purpose success system. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Can you speak to maybe 3 of those pillars that you reference in that?
Yes, I can. Let me just find the most simplest way to do this. I think that the first 3 pillars is where I'll concentrate.
Okay.
And those pillars are purpose, intuition, and energy management. Energy healing is really what it is. And I have my system. My system is called the Intuition, Purpose, Energy Healing Essentials system, because those 3 main pinions almost become the foundation for everything, of which the rest of the 8 pillars in that system emanate from. And so purpose really is a power, and it's a path. It is a power because when you get to know what your purpose is, you just are unstoppable. I keep coming back to that word. You do become audacious. You do become unstoppable because you just know. It's like saying to somebody, you really shouldn't wear your hair like that. That orange just doesn't, it's not cool for you to be a keynote speaker with orange hair. Well, if you and I heard somebody say that to us, we would think like, but I know my hair is not orange. And so it's that knowing. I don't even think twice about it. I'm sure you wouldn't even think twice about it with your gorgeous blonde hair. It just doesn't even stick. There's no Teflon. There is a Teflon reaction. That kind of certainty is what happens when a person knows their purpose. Intuition, the bottom line on intuition is if you don't use your intuition, your life is going to be a bumpy road. Your life is going to be learning how to drive a stick shift instead of driving in a very wonderful automated car, an automatic drive. And not only that, I'll even add, not only are you first learning how to drive a stick shift, but you're doing it on a dirt road
that is steep
at an incline, like in San Francisco, the hills of San Francisco, as opposed to a really updated automated car on this newly paved highway. That's the difference between living your life with your intuition engaged versus not. Your intuition is the voice of your soul. It is the voice, it is I'll say the communication line between the higher realms and your human mind and your human apparatus, through which your guides and angels and soul and higher self speak through. I'm going to use higher self and soul synonymously here. If you don't have access to that, you're cut off. It's like having a fuel line with crimps in it. You can't drive well. And nowadays, in particular, I'm sure everybody says this in their own era because there's always challenge. We live on planet Earth, which is the plane of duality. However, I think we're really into something nowadays as far as the dark and the light and the need for compassion and love and humanity and oneness and searching for higher ground and committing to the path of light. I don't know about you, but when I look around what's going on, that's what I think is happening. And therefore, to not have access to your intuition, even on everyday things like, should I turn right? Should I turn left? Should I pick up the phone? Shouldn't I pick up the phone? Should I get this cat food or should I get that cat food? I mean, like bringing it down to everyday questions. I encourage people to take this seriously, study, go online to Amazon.com or study with me or do both and buy a bunch of books on intuition development and really work on it. I think anybody who's drawn to your symposium will already have a pretty good sense that they're intuitive. That's just my sense. Take it to the next level.
Yeah, let me insert here because we have this we make a differentiation between those who came in when we call it thick membraned versus thin membraned, and basically it's the thickness of the membrane allows you, the thinner it is, the more intuitive you get, the more knowingness you have, the more you get to hear internally, see internally. So there are those of us, myself included, that came in with thick membranes. It's just a choice we made when we yes, I have developed more intuitiveness. However, I used to be very thick membraned in that way. I would not get very much information. So for those people who start that way, what is the best way to develop their intuitive self, their intuition, their knowingness, and trusting it? Because that's the next thing. Those of us who don't come in with that, to develop the trust to listen to that inner voice. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would have, an intuitive thought, but I wouldn't trust it. And then,
Yeah.
3 days later go, oh, darn, now I understand what I should have done.
Yeah. I
Followed
hear
that.
ya.
So
Yeah.
speak to that a little bit more to those that are more of the thick membraned kind.
Okay. Mm. Well, first of all, I'll go back to my soul purpose success tips. I have lots of tips in there to help a person learn how to get grounded. And learning how to get grounded is essential to get out of your head where a lot of the thickness gets reinforced, to use your metaphor, and into more of an integrated state within yourself where at least your heart and your intuitive nature has a half a chance to get through the PA system,
Right.
So one thing I would suggest is definitely get into my free gift when the time comes. The second thing is now it's time for people to start taking an inventory. And here's how you can do that. Everyone, at least those who I would believe are attracted to your symposium, when you reflect back, you can write down, even right now, 15 instances where you sensed your intuition was messaging you. And then you go into analyzing, well, what was it about that was coming from my intuition? Why would I think it was intuition as opposed to me just making it up? And we'll talk about that in a minute too. And the way to look is to notice the different channels that have communicated with you. There's the clairaudience, which is the hearing. Do you hear things? There's the clairsentience, where you feel things. You actually feel things in your body, physical sensations as well as emotions. So it's a two-prong system there. It's emotions and it's somatic registering sensations in your body, goosebumps, hot, cold, cramps, an elevated feeling in your body, and then emotions. I don't think I need to say much about that. So there's the somatic end of that particular system of messaging. Then there's the visual end of it, which is the clairvoyance, where you actually see things. You see images, colors, shapes, movement, textures. You see things. Then there's the clairgnosis. That's how I pronounce it. Other people pronounce it differently. Clairgnosis is just knowing. You just know. And those are the main ones. There's also taste, and there's also smell. Some people can smell roses and beautiful perfumes when their guides are around them. Other people get a particular taste when they're getting information. And that taste can be a pattern that whenever they get that same taste, it means something. Or they'll get a taste and it's a one-time experience of that particular taste because they're meant to research that. And when they research whatever causes metallic taste in your mouth or a salty taste in your mouth, then that might lead them to a solution or to something that they're to actually teach people. So the key is to take inventory of the ways in which you sense that messaging is arriving in your conscious field. Now, I'm a multi-sensory intuitive psychic, so I get all of them. I have not had the taste. I have had the smell one, rarely. The other three are my strongest suits. So for a person to start, even today, get yourself a journal and just think about the times that you really believe it was your intuition. That's step number one, to analyze your system of messaging. Step number two is think about what happened, just like what you so aptly modeled. I should have listened. For people to write down what happened when they did not heed or adhere to that messaging. And that's going to speak volumes, because that, through contrast, is going to tell them a lot about when intuition has arrived. So just take note of the consequence of not heeding your intuition. The third step would be to start making, excuse me, it a practice on a day-to-day basis. Like maybe give yourself a 5-day window so it's not too overwhelming. And what triggers intuition is asking questions. There are two things that open up the intuitive channels. One is asking a question of yourself. I'll give you an example in a minute. And the other one I learned from Sonia Choquette, who is one of the best known intuition teachers in our society, I guess. And that is to say, I wonder what would happen if. I wonder what it is I really want. I wonder what it would be like if I did this and this. I wonder what it would feel like if I stopped this and did that. I wonder, right? Well, that just takes all the anxiety out of a thing, you know? Now, so that's one track to activate your intuition, is I wonder, and you're asking a question about, or you're posing a wondering about something that you really want some insights about, something that you want clarity about, something that you want to make a decision about, and you want to really give it your best shot. The other is to ask a question, and the question would be something like, what is it that I need to know now about X, Y, and Z? What is important to me to know about this and this? What is it about this that is critical for me to know? Just look for questions on how to ask a bottom line, cut to the chase. I'm sorry about the dog in the background. I happen to love that little dog. It's not mine. And then to just keep digging deep with questions. And what does it mean if I see this? Intuition, what is it about that particular color that might be useful? I just got this feeling. What could this feeling possibly be telling me? And just ask.
Yeah.
So that would be my first action plan to become more intimate with your intuition. And again, definitely my soul purpose success tips, because it goes into a lot of that kind of stuff.
Well, I want to speak to all the thick membranes out there right now, and I can tell you, if I can develop intuitive abilities, anybody can, because I started off, let's call it fairly dense in that way. And, it was interesting to hear you speak to the different ways in which you can learn to understand the language of your intuition. And for me, I love the goosebumps. I call them my truth detector now, because when I have a goosebump, either on my arm or down my back, I know that I've hit on something that I need to pay attention to. And so it's finding those little clues, physical clues of what happens to you, that really are a doorway for you. And then, as you were saying, I get information visually now, so I get oftentimes what happens when I lose something and I don't know where it is, if I just relax, all of a sudden I'll get a flash of where it is. And
Beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, your thick, what you call your thick, whatever you called
membrane,
that was just smoke and mirrors. That was just a game your soul was playing with you, because I think that all of that was a big setup.
Well, it's one of the ways in which we choose to come in to protect ourselves from the energies. And, there is a good reason behind choosing that versus being thin membraned. And yes, you can shift around it. So I'd love to go far deeper into this conversation, but we have the third one that you mentioned, the third pillar, which is the energy management pillar. So let's make sure we get that one in since we mentioned it. So speak to that one as well.
Well, it completely dovetails with your last comment about protecting oneself so that they can cope, they can survive. And the third aspect, meaning the energy management aspect, has a couple of prongs to it. What I teach in my intuition, purpose, and energy healing essentials is how to do 3 different things with energy. Number 1 is to set up your sovereign, sacred self-center, your center that you are immovable from, you are indomitable. No matter what comes up, yes, you might get shaken, but you come back to your center. And to develop that is your home base. Mm-hmm. So the more you learn how to strengthen that position, the more you're able to stand in the observer and to look out into the world where you are in this world but not of this world. And in that position, you're able to help people a lot more. And you get to be audaciously authentic in a way that is allowing you to thrive and the other people to thrive as well. So step number 1 is establishing this sacred signature, what I call your soul signature imprint in the world. The second part of energy management is as a healer, where you are acting to heal yourself, and by keeping your vibration as high as possible when things are difficult as well as when things are ecstatically wonderful, that high frequency is what emanates like a perfume, like an exquisite divine whiff of energy that just infuses an environment. And that becomes a standard, a vibrational line of demarcation, where people who are ready to rise up to meet that line of energy will do so. And those who cannot, for whatever reason, will either turn away and leave the environment, or they will clearly be identified as just not being able to align with whatever's going on, and then that leads to other steps to take. So energy healing. The third part is manifesting deliberately with conscious projectiles and insertions of energy. And I teach people how to program their energy field so that they are resonating at the vibration of what it is they want to manifest. And it is truly this understanding that you must be that which you want to manifest, which is, nerve-wracking at times, let's face it. But hey, we're living in epic times, so we can do this kind of stuff. But we all have to do our work. The idea is to know where we're headed so that when we meet the resistance, we know how to work with energy to dismantle and dissolve and become partners with that resistance and see what the next steps are according to your divine order. So when you take those 3 pillars of purpose, intuition, and energy management, anybody stands firmly on the earth plane like that beautiful willow that can just move and flow like a keto with whatever forces are coming at you, where you never lose track of your essence self, but you are always appropriately responding to the winds that are hitting you.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that imagery of the willow and the wind. It's a graceful, flexible, malleable energy, but
very valuable,
but firmly grounded.
Yeah, dauntless. Yeah. I use the word dauntless. I love that. Indomitable, dauntless, unstoppable, all of those words, because at the core, you are like that. So you don't have to go hurt people. You don't have to go spewing whatever, you don't need to be one of those people that explodes and lashes out. You can do it with elegance. You can do it with compassion, firmness. Firmness, but you don't have to leave corpses around you. Why? Because you know who you are. You have this synergy of intuition, purpose, and energy healing.
Nice. the state of being, or even the posture that we work with, that comes to mind right now is that of royalty. And
Yes.
not the arrogant, you little minions, but that energetic of, I am the king or queen of my realm, and come with elegance, firmness, confidence, and holding that state of being as we are out in the world. And it's a powerful and beautiful state of being to show
Yeah.
up in.
Yes, and I feel, that's another reason why I was so thrilled to meet you, is because that in my world, with what I'm up to in this lifetime, my mission in this lifetime is to heal the heart of humanity
Mm,
by coaching and mentoring business owners to be true to their soul purpose path, and through the reverent honoring of our other species.
mhm.
The only way that we can do that is if we have that elegance,
Yes.
elegance of knowing the truth that works, our truth, and from that platform influencing as best as we can. Because if we drop down to the damaging of others and the lashing out, then the energy tanks,
Yes.
and we're basically at the same level of vibration as that which we want to heal or hope to heal. And it's tough. Oh, it is not an easy road.
No. No. Wow. I am seeing that we are at time. That went by very, very fast. And I feel very filled right now. I feel the energy. And it's lovely. As you speaking, you're incredibly eloquent, and the words you use have so much energetic imprint with it. And it's wonderful to feel into that, and take on the posture of everything that you're talking about, and then stepping into the world that way. And that's really the invitation that we're putting on all of you that are listening, is to really feel into what Sasha just spoke of, that state of being, and saying, yes, I claim that. I am that, and I claim that. And so really thank you, Sasha, for all the gifts you've just given, and that you give to your clients and the world, and healing the world's heart. It needs it desperately. As we're seeing the binary reality express itself in such incredible ways right now.
Yes, and that I'm so glad you said that about inviting people to step out and really make their mark, and that too is part of my free gift. People have a chance to talk to me, and the purpose of that chat really is all about, how can I support you with whatever you've got on your soul purpose plate?
Yes.
How can I help you to put all of that in its right context,
Yes.
so that you can take whatever is your next step? Because trust me, if you're listening to this symposium, something huge inside of you is calling you out. And yes, it's the time, but also it's kind of like the spiritual demand.
Yes. Yeah, it's there's a big neon sign saying this way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
time for all of us to step out, and claim a new world, and a new self, claim that authentic self of who we are. So thank you for the part that you are playing in that invitation, and being part of the light of the neon sign.
I do my best, believe
Yes,
me. I
yeah.
do my best.
So, audience, you can find the gifts that Sasha has spoken of throughout this interview. You can find them on your email. There is a link to that. Do you want to just speak the link right now, just so people have it also in the auditory way?
Sure. It's my website homepage, entrepreneursoulcoach.com.
Hmm.
So you do have to spell entrepreneur correctly. I did not buy up all the misspellings of entrepreneur that would redirect to my page. You really have to spell it right. Entrepreneursoulcoach.com. And then when you get there, right there in the banner is the opt-in box, and we'll go from there.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Really appreciate the time, the energy, the openness to sharing your gifts with the world. And I know that the audience got a huge amount of value out of this, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kirsten, dear. Mwah.
Mwah. All right, goodbye, everybody, and wish you a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you in the next segment. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.